theswirlworld.com. Podcast episode
129.
The Swirl World.
Interracial.
Diverse.
Beautiful.
Today's shout out goes to today's guest. That's right. Today's shout out goes to Anita Washington of That Anita Live TV. Specifically, we want to shout her out for her brand new ebook entitled 7 Simple Steps to Beat Emotional Baggage: How to Become Whole, Healed, Healthy, and Happy. In her new ebook, Anita provides 7 results-driven techniques to transform your negative thinking and resolve emotional baggage for a happier life. She enables you to be equipped to boldly go back into your past and face traumas and tragedies that created your glass ceiling to happiness and enable you to create a revision for your new life. With this book, you'll be able to identify the 4 life stages of emotional baggage and reasons not to stay stuck. You'll learn how to solve an emotional equation, to review your emotional growth and development annually. And you'll also learn to identify success blockers and learn how to resolve emotional baggage. This ebook is powerful and it's free. Go to thatanitalive.com/ebook and download your copy today. And now, on to the rest of the show. Keep listening.
We're so conditioned to what happens in the house stays in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't seek help or you don't seek solutions outside of yourself. Whatever that problem is your problem and you need to handle it. And that's how a lot of us are raised. So when we do begin to have emotional difficulties, we may go to the preacher or we may go to an aunt who is just going to reinforce what I just said. You know, the preacher may say, time heals all wounds, or you just need to pray about it. And Auntie's going to say, you're strong, you come from good stuff, you will be just fine, it'll be okay. Not realizing that there are professionals out there with expertise to help people with specific mental health issues or even emotional issues that they feel overwhelmed by.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Swirl World podcast. This is your co-host, Michelle Matthews-Calloway. I'm especially stoked today because I am interviewing not only someone I consider a friend, but a fellow podcaster. And today we're going to be talking with none other than Anita Washington of the podcast That Anita Live. So Anita, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be a part of your podcast.
Well, we are excited to have you, and I'm looking forward to the conversation, and especially looking forward to our listeners learning more about you. We like to share great content and support people who are doing wonderful things on their blogs and websites and podcasts and whatnot. So I'm happy to introduce you to our listening audience. And so why not tell them a little bit more about Anita Washington and who she is so they can know you better?
Oh, just a little country girl from the South. I am originally from South Carolina, currently in the DMV, the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, and I am a podcast host and the host of That Anita Live TV. I've also just launched an ebook on my specialty, which is emotional healing. The title of the ebook is 7 Simple Steps to Beat Emotional Baggage, and that is the cusp of what it is that I am trying to do in the world. There is a lot of anxiety and animosity in the world right now, and a lot of people are just wrapped really tight about things in their life that they cannot control. And I'm stepping forward to help people realize what they can control, what they can't, and how their emotional healing will help them live up front, will help them live in their true spirit, character, and personality.
Wow. So now let's unpack some of that and tell us how you got into doing this particular type of work. That sounds so, as you said, so needed. You know, we think about just the events of the past weekend, much less other things that are going on in our country and around the world. But how did you even get into this type of work?
Well, actually, you could kind of say that I'm returning to my first love. The career that I'm in right now as a federal contract specialist, acquisition support specialist, is really a second career for me. My first career was as a counselor. I spent 10 years counseling everyone from the age of 12 to probably 55. And everything from career counseling to emotions to being that front gate in where somebody needed to be recommended for more deep mental health services, then I help with that recommendation. So I like being that pivot point where change happens in somebody's life, whether it's career or emotional healing. I like being in that space. So really, I fell back into it. It wasn't a conscious decision at the time. Looking for more entrepreneurial type activities, I began to interview friends of mine like yourself who were already established, just to try and get a feel for, one, what's out there and available, and two, to just give them some content, videos, audio that they could put on their website, because it's easier if it's an interview conversation versus just one person standing in front of a camera talking about themselves. And as the project progressed, people began to say, you know, Anita, you're really good at this. And it just continued. And the things that I needed to be able to move the project forward or to elevate its quality, everything just kind of showed up at the right time. So I could say that it's divine.
Yes, for sure. For sure. So now tell us a little bit more about your project. And let's start with Anita Live TV. I know you have a YouTube channel. Is that where it's hosted? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Michelle, it's hosted almost anywhere people watch videos. I have it on YouTube and I have it on my website, because I noticed that AnitaLive.tv, people weren't recognizing it as an actual domain, as an actual URL. So I began to post the videos to YouTube, titled the YouTube channel That Anita Live TV, and my views began to increase at that time because people were more familiar with YouTube. What I do with those videos is I interview people that have been through devastating circumstances, and you wouldn't believe some of the things that people in this world have been through. But they've come out on the other side, they're emotionally healed, and they're able to share it in a way that they share their techniques and their tips that help them overcome, so that people that are watching can pick up those tips and techniques and begin their own healing processes.
And you know, I think about mental health and the Black community and how and I know you have a variety of guests, but specifically in the Black community, there seems to be such a stigma surrounding mental health issues, and there really should not be.
There shouldn't. We are, I guess we're so conditioned to what happens in the house stays in the house. And you don't seek help, or you don't seek solutions outside of yourself. Whatever that problem is your problem, and you need to handle it. And that's how a lot of us are raised. So when we do begin to have emotional difficulties, we may go to the preacher, or we may go to an aunt who is just going to reinforce what I just said. You know, the preacher may say, time heals all wounds, or you just need to pray about it. And auntie's going to say, you're strong, you come from good stuff, you will be just fine, it'll be okay. Not realizing that there are professionals out there with expertise to help people with specific mental health issues, or even emotional issues that they feel overwhelmed by.
And it's so wonderful that you're offering this space, where people can look at the stories of others and the interviews, and I'm sure they can find points where they can relate, or just even hearing, seeing someone else be brave enough to share their story, I think would give them courage to do what that person did and seek help.
Yes, because some of the stories that I have out there was a young lady that was abandoned at birth. Her mom left her under a bridge as a child. Mom was a teenage mom, confused, ashamed, left her under a bridge. But later they were reunited. So, can you imagine what it's like being raised by a mom that really doesn't like you? And there are a lot of difficulties that young lady went through, and where she admitted to being a cutter. She attempted suicide a few times. But now to look at her, you would never imagine that she'd been through all of that.
That's incredible. That's just to even imagine something like that, and to know that here you are tapping into these people and they're sharing their stories, and we can be the beneficiaries of what they've endured, and also make application to our own lives as a result. I appreciate that so much. Tell me about the project. I know you've had a podcast series, and you're getting ready to launch another series, and you have ebooks coming out. Tell us about the projects that are currently underway with That Anita Live TV.
Well, what's currently underway is with That Anita Live is I'm launching season 2. And in launching season 2, the videos sit on my website as well as the audio. And then also the videos sit on my YouTube channel, and the audio, for those that are too busy for video and that like to listen on the go, it's the podcast that is released on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. So, season 2 launches August 20th, and what people will notice in the difference between season 1 and season 2 is the quality. I actually have a studio versus recording the Skype calls. There's a set design. There's an audio engineer, because I am surely not an audio engineer, but I did the best that I could in season 1. Season 2, there's an audio, so the quality is increased. But then also I was able to reach out to some people with some bigger platforms. For instance, the first episode of season 2, which is really episode 17, is the current reigning Mrs. District of Columbia.
Oh, awesome.
And then as the season progressed, I have a guest in where I was very interested in learning, because her story was an internationally known story, because her ex-husband had us here in the D.C. area under siege, and where people were afraid to go to the gas station because he was a sniper.
I remember that.
Yes, I interviewed her, and she tried to pull out of her, how is it that she and her 3 kids healed after he was caught? There's a lot, as family members that you go through, and where you are blamed, you are shamed, and it was neither her or those 3 kids. It was not their fault. Everybody is responsible for their own decisions and actions. So to attempt to blame them or to attempt to shame them was just wrong. However, it happened, and it happened on an international scale. That interview, Michelle, is just simply amazing. I had a full crew in studio, and there wasn't, my eye and her eyes were the only dry eyes in the studio when I interviewed her.
Oh, I cannot wait to see that and listen to that, because I remember that story. I remember at the time, and it's incredible. And I've read articles and different posts and news stories about people who maybe were married to serial killers and whatnot, and it's amazing how that person themselves is a victim, really. Yeah. They may not feel, but to be in a marriage or relationship with that person, and then the notoriety that ensues from all of that, and I'm sure the mental anguish they go through, the 1,000,001 questions they have, but then to have people point the finger at them and blame them as if they should have known, and all these armchair psychiatrists and psychologists say, "Oh, wow."
I also have another young lady who I was very excited to get to interview because I remember her story. Her story was a story of date rape, and she was in law school. And I mean, it was just amazing to hear and to finally be able to meet her in person and interview her, to ask her the questions that I had been thinking about for years. Her story was also on an international level, because the young man, he was acquitted on so many counts before the police were able to actually get a conviction in court. And that was an international story also, because he just told these outlandish stories about him being an astronaut or him being a surgeon, and it was just, it's amazing to sit down with her and hear her side of the story.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I know our audience wants to hear it as well, and we'll, be watching for the release of these episodes and make sure to cross-post or promote it on our page so that they can know when these come out. Now, they can also get on a mailing list, right, an email list to subscribe?
Yes, of course. They can go to my website. Actually, when they go to my website, on the home page, they can download a free copy of my ebook, 7 Simple Steps to Beat Emotional Baggage, and they can get it in any version that they want, whether they want a MOBI or an EPUB or a PDF. They can get it in any version. And downloading that ebook also puts them on my list to receive the podcast and the videos right in their inbox, so they know every time I post a new interview or a new episode.
That's wonderful, because, if you think about, and I know all the stories in and of themselves are riveting, but to have the option to be able to actually see the interview, or like you said, if they're on the go, they can listen to the podcast, and if they want to, they can come back and watch it. That's great. Those are great options to have, and to get that ebook with that with so much good information from someone who is qualified to share it.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I take that compliment. Thank you, Michelle.
Yes. I just so appreciate what you do, and we strive to present examples of inspiration and motivation. Our target audience is Black women, and I'm just so overwhelmed and really blessed by the numbers of Black women who are doing great things and meeting people at their point of need in so many different niches. And that hashtag Black Girl Magic covers a broad spectrum.
It does. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to be able to, when I meet young ladies or when they say, Anita, I can't go after my dreams because you don't know my story, or I had a baby at a young age, or whatever it is that they've been through. And I can say, you know what? I know somebody that went through that exact same thing. I need you to go to my website, look at this episode, and hear how she overcame, because you can do the same thing.
Right. So now people can go to your website, thatanitalive.tv, and where else can they find you on the web?
They can find me on Twitter. Twitter is home. My handle, That Anita Live. My Facebook page, also That Anita Live, and Instagram with the same handle, That Anita Live. And don't think that I forgot, because my very first episode, the person that actually gave me my first chance to interview somebody was Miss Matthews-Calloway. So I am very appreciative to you, because we talked for a good bit of time about the difficulties that people face in interracial relationships.
We certainly did, and I was so honored for you to ask me to be on your show, and had a great conversation. So I guess they can find that's on your podcast and on your site. Good discussion about the roadblocks sometimes and hindrances and mental roadblocks that people run into in dating and marrying interracially. So thank you for that. We appreciate you so much. So we're looking forward to the launch, and you said you're launching on August 20th, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we want to encourage everybody, go ahead and sign up now while you're listening. Very easy. Go to Anita's website and to her homepage and get that free ebook that she so graciously provides, and then you'll be on the email list and get notifications of her new shows. And then you can also go ahead and go to iTunes and you said Stitcher. They can go to YouTube if they want to see these interviews and get caught up. You know, it's like if they want to binge watch or get caught up on the episodes before season 2 launches, and then they'll be ready to go.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I know you're in your studio right now, which means you're busy. So I'm not going to keep you. I appreciate you so much for being on the show, and I'm looking forward to the new series that's going to launch on August 20th. Thank you so much, Anita, for sharing your story and your podcast and just your mission with us. And I appreciate the work that you're doing out there in the world.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking of me for one of your podcast episodes. I really appreciate it.
Well, all right. That's our show for today, and we'll see you all on our Facebook pages and on the website, theswirlworld.com. Take care, Anita, and take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to like The Swirl World on Facebook and subscribe to the blog at theswirlworld.com.
Head on over to iTunes and subscribe to the podcast or listen directly from our Facebook page.
We can also be heard on SoundCloud and Stitcher Radio.
The Swirl World.
Interracial.
Diverse.
Beautiful.